Martin Stierli has been working at New York's Museum of Modern Art, MoMA, since the spring. He's the new Chief Curator of Architecture and Design. It's a long way from his last job as art history professor at the University of Zurich.
One day, out of the blue, I got a phone call from MoMA. MoMA is one of the most important institutions for modern art, and of course it's an offer you can't refuse. It was a big step for me that needed careful thought and lots of courage, but it's a great and unique opportunity.
The current exhibition on display was curated by his predecessor, but from now on, the 41-year-old from Zug will be responsible for all future exhibitions in the renovated Department for Architecture and Design.
When I was teaching at university, my audience was made of students. It was a job I liked a lot. It might be an exaggeration, but if you want, my audience now is the global community at large. Because of the things we do here, MoMA draws a very wide and multifaceted interest. So, with this job comes a certain degree of responsibility and a certain amount of pressure.
It would be, of course, interesting to have his opinion, for sure.
Stierli leads a team of 14 full-time employees, and they've already started working on future shows.
The goal is, of course, to curate the ultimate and perfect exhibition that sums up the history of architecture and design of the 20th and 21st centuries.
His appointment to MoMA was a surprise, as he had no prior experience in curating.
He wasn't necessarily well known as a curator, but I think what we believe is that he's got a great future as a curator with amazing intellectual ability, a great eye, a lot of curiosity.
New York's skyscrapers now shape part of his daily commute. Many are important in the history of architecture.
At every corner you see important buildings. Living here in New York, there are endless things to stimulate your imagination, and that is ultimately very inspiring.
With around 3 million visitors a year, MoMA is hectic and noisy. With exhibitions including pieces from pop icons like Björk, the museum's attracting even more visitors. For some critics, there are way too many.
The Museum of Modern Art is part of a trend that sees museums becoming less and less places of contemplation where you would admire art in silence. On the other hand, museums are increasingly event spaces that you visit to experience something. This is certainly a dilemma we're facing.
A dilemma that is only one of the challenges facing Martin Stierli as new curator.